It ought to start on its own. All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe. Dave is on his way here from Utah. I haven't started this engine yet. It's gonna be a fun day. If you've ever built an engine, you may realize how many hundreds of things could go wrong and trying to start one or needing one to run and be perfect the day of. I don't have time to stress, so let's go to work. Here's my little run stand I'm still proud of from my brother Brad. He's a YouTube viewer and a good friend. So I'm still appreciative of that. This is our 500 stroker, and I wanted to go through the start sequence with you. It seems to be one of those deals that mind boggles a lot of people. So step one, pull the number one plug. There's no coil on this right now, so I don't have to worry about getting shocked. So we're gonna pull number one plug. This distributor is just setting in the hole. Let me get it out of the way. I'm gonna stick my finger in this hole. Have someone bump your ignition over for you. When you hear that, you stop. CR0 is past the zero of our balancer, is past the zero on our pointer. So we're gonna back that up to about 10 before. Let me show you what that looks like. That is it. The zero is about 10 before, maybe 11, whatever. So all I did was just rotate the crankshaft backwards towards me. Let's drop our distributor gear in. Here is my distributor gear, drive gear. This is a bronze one because this is a roller cam and that's what it called for. So I've got assembly lube on it. That's why I want to keep spinning it. And I put a little bit on the bottom so that it would, right there, just so it'd be nice and lubed everywhere. Right now it doesn't matter where it goes to. Okay. Give it a couple twists around. Just like that. So here's our new fire core distributor. If you like fire core stuff, call them directly and mention the channel to get your discount. There's a little slot in the end of that. Most of the world, or a lot of the world, says you should point your rotor at number one cylinder. To make that happen, if you look down at the end of the drive shaft, you just need to orient that bottom piece so that your intermediate shaft corresponds with this shaft. So right now, mine needs to face basically at this stud here. So I need to pop her back. I think I'm sideways right now. There we go. What's that look like? That would put me right here. Not quite. One more tooth. You'll feel it when it rotates around. It'll push back down. There it is. Beautiful. And I like to get the most engagement into my shaft as I possibly can. So we're going to see how this one feels. If there's a little gap, then nope, there's no gap at all. So we're not using a gasket right now. My rotor is pointing that way. So that would be my number one, wherever it's pointing at. Now we're gonna phase the rotor, is what I like to call it. And you see our little marks in here. All you gotta do is rotate the body of the distributor until that lines up. Just like that. Let me move my clip, excuse me. Backside clip was catching. So you see, line them up, make them point at each other. I need to fire my cameraman. We're going to lock our distributor down right there. This will get us a good baseline on what is to come. So I just set my cap on here for now. If I pull it off, you see my rotor is pointing closest to that lug right there. That's gonna be my number one. So I'm finally ready to get started. I got my timing light hooked up and had to swap to this old bootleg coil here. But yeah, I'm ready to rock. I had to also make a connector that would adapt an MSD to the factory Mopar style because I just got an old orange box on here. But I think I'm ready. I'm I'm gonna get the camera set up. My ideal mission is to have it immediately start. This is a roller cam engine, so it's not gonna go flat or anything like that. But I wanna get it up running 1500, 2000 RPM quick. And I'm gonna run it about 10 minutes. At least the rings will get seated or start to seat. I'm not shooting for any high revs or anything like that. That's always, I hear that can glaze your cylinder walls. But as far as I know, I'm ready. I want to loosen my distributor just a little bit in case I need to give it a tweak. And I've got my light set on. I just brought it up 25 degrees because I'm assuming here that I should be fairly close. I know I've got 10 degrees advance in there. We can even go to 30. There we go. And as soon as it fires up, the only thing I have spinning down here is those two pulleys. I can turn my electric fans on in a minute if I want to, or I mean I will, but I'll be shooting right around the corner to see my timing mark there. So let's try it and see what happens. Look at that. Need a little more gas. And give that a screw or so. See what we get up to here. So here's a good little teachable moment for us. Since we had a backfire to the carburetor, we know the timing is slow. We're going to advance it. This is a big block, so we need to go clockwise, just like that. Now we'll fire it up and see what happens. Kill it for just a second here. My oil pressure is excellent. It might even be just a shade. Well, it's perfect. You can't see it now, but it was like 80, 85. I got a little bit of smoke happening here. I'm hoping we don't lose a plug wire. There's not a lot I could do, but it had a, I don't know, at least a 1/4 inch between it. So I just put that boot on to be safe. So it may just be the boot burning some oil off. No leaks right now. And it's all looking good. I was gonna double check my water. See, there's no pressure on it. Double check it real quick, and my oil level. I know I poured 6 quarts in it before. I believe it's a 7-quart pan. So since we got a little bit of heat into it, I want to check that oil again. I bet it'll take another quart. And then we'll finish running her out here. Okay. I checked my plug wire. That was just the, I guess the little Kevlar stuff smoking. So it looks good. 2 quarts of oil. This is 7 quarts plus filter. So it's filled up now. Yeah, I got you set up where maybe you can see my new piece of wood I put under there. I dried out the best I could, get that old film of stuff off. And we're gonna run another 5 minutes. I'll vary the RPM a little bit. Everything's looking great. I don't want to sit here and rev it over and over again just to hear the engine run, but let's do it. It ought to start on its own. Just as I turn on the key. So our leak is leaking, but I believe it might be my oil pan. We always hope for oil pan. Let me get you in where we can look around. See that corner there? It's not centered at all, and I don't know if that's, you know, my run stand, my engine's pretty level. I feel like it should be in the center if it's a rear main. What I'm gonna do is tighten up those pan bolts, touch them all up a little bit, see if we can't get a little more squish on our gasket and see what happens here. Because it's not a rundown. There's no, valve covers are totally dry. This dude's smoking still just to be annoying. But so far so good. So you see my windage tray is just barely damp on top. I went ahead and tightened every pan bolt, touched them up. The rear ones were, they took about 3/4 of a turn, so I was able to stick my hand, header's still warm. Excuse me. Stick my hand up all the way and touch the crankshaft. It's just a little film. It's not, I don't see a drip. Can't feel a drip from coming from back there. I mean, that's pretty dry. That's not moisture, so that's good. All we can do is fly it and watch it, see what happens here. I moved my board once again, see if we can catch another drip happening. And once again, it ought to fire right off. It's sitting at about 185, I think. Shade over 190. So when it starts, let's see if she sucks back down. So inquiring minds got to know. I've got my little run stand jacked up here. And you see I got a little better squish now on my gasket coming out there. I found some longer bolts from a different kit. And I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I found 6. I put washers under them, a little bit longer bolts. Gave them all a little bit extra tighten. We're gonna try it again and see if we got that dirty leak. And if we do, I may roll up under here and while it's running just to see, you know, it's no different than being under a car on jack stands while it's running. I always wear my safety glasses. But yeah, we have to know. Hopefully it'll quit leaking now since I put those longer bolts in and got them good and tight. We ran about 20 minutes so far, so I should be able to idle it down soon. But maybe it's slinging more, might make it leak more, so we want to see that in action. Well, as you can tell, it's a brand new day, and you're catching me with my pan down here. But that's all good. So that gasket actually stuck to the pan. That one I peeled off in one piece, but I've got new ones. And I've got a new rear main because I determined yesterday it was absolutely the rear main. 2947 is the Chrysler Hemi Top Fuel Funny Car Premium Viton material, made in the USA. And that's what I should have started with, but I don't know. I feel like you got a 10 to 20% chance every single time building an engine that the rear main might leak. So I've been fortunate in the last few, and I know how to fix this, so I'll bring you along for the process. All right, Mopar people.